Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I'm your host, Marco Mazzola, and I am joined today by a special guest. Say hello, Diana.
Hello.
So Diana and I worked together for years at a company called Cambridge Soundworks. That's how we got to know each other. And it turns out Diana's a big Game of Thrones fan. So we're going to talk about Game of Thrones today. All right. So Diana, let's talk about that. Did you watch from the beginning?
No. All right. I feel like I should preface this because everybody who's watched the show can go on and on about how shitty it got at the end. And I just wanted to start off by saying how awesome it was. It was great. So I did not... When the show first came out, I had not read any of the books. I didn't know anything about it. So I came into it right in the middle of the first season. And I just totally got hooked. And before the first season was done, I went out and I started reading the books. And so I don't know, you probably know this much, that each season correlates to a book that was published.
Yep.
There were supposed to be 7 in all. To this day, 5 have been published. There's supposed to be 2 more.
Right.
Which, are never going to be written.
Right. That's pretty much, I think we're just consigned to that fact that's never going to happen.
Yeah. But I mean, so I burned through those books by the time the second season rolled around. And so, it was a really amazing thing to be a part of because I got really deep into it. I used to go to these websites called, like Watchers on the Wall, which was a blog somebody wrote. People would, at the beginning of every season, there would be people, paparazzi photos of filming, and it would all be broken down, and people would just, is this going to be this scene? Is this going to be that scene? And it was really exciting. And HBO, the way they used to promote it, they'd release on YouTube just a trailer, and it was usually scored with some really great music, and it would get so pumped up, it used to be so good.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't.
And then all of a sudden, it wasn't.
Yeah, and it, anybody who watched it and read the books, it started to suck when they ran out of source material.
Right. So they're making it up on the fly, not on the fly, but on their own. It's just you can just put a pin in it of okay, this is when they ran out of source material, and that's when it just started to unravel and became less about the story and more about anybody will just say this, fan service, I don't even know where to go with that because there's and
so
I'm all
much
for fan service. I like certain things with fan service. It doesn't just have to be the whole thing, though.
Yeah. I mean, so
it has to be much and obvious.
Yeah. So the way I'd try to put it into perspective for people who've never read the books is the last book that was written ended at the big points that ended that book was Jon Snow getting shanked and Daenerys riding off on her dragon out of the fighting pit. So that's where the author left it.
Right.
And then you think how much more has happened on the show since then. I mean, I remember being so excited, oh my God, how different is Jon Snow going to be when he comes back?
Right.
He was the same.
He was the same.
Okay, so all right, he died, and that meant nothing. But I don't know. It's that anyway. That's where it started to really suck.
Right.
And anybody, I could. The other thing that I'm going to be all over the place here.
That's okay.
The other thing that really bothered me about it is I used to do a rewatch every year, and it's not a small rewatch.
No, not at all.
It was 10 episodes, an hour each. So I would do that a couple of times a year. When did the series go off the air? A couple of years ago. Yeah. I have not watched a single episode since because they just destroyed it hardcore.
It ran from 2011. It's a little fact. 2011 to 2019. And they have a total of 73 episodes. Mm-hmm. So, 10 hours, an hour a piece, that's a lot. That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, and there are just so many things that it could have... HBO wanted 2 more, at least 10 seasons of 10 episoose.
Yeah, there's still rumblings. Is season 9 coming?
No, it's not coming. But the writers, the showrunners, David Benioff and David Weiss, that's right, D&D, that's what everybody calls them, Dumb and Dumber.
Yep.
They got... I don't know if they got bored with it. They just wanted to sign off on. They wanted to go do Star Wars.
Didn't they get kicked off of that though?
Yeah. So good job, idiots.
Well, I think Star Wars dodging a bullet though. What the hell they ended
Star
up
Wars
with.
sucks now too. Don't even get me started with that. But it could have ended up awesome.
what I don't understand, and I've never found this out, is why didn't HBO just pull in a couple of other writers to finish it properly?
Right.
That makes me think, well, those two, under some whatever contract, were they greedy? Did they just were like, no, we're going to put this to bed,
kind of Hollywood,
or
right?
into the ground?
Yeah.
As it turned out, but I don't know. It was a real bummer because it could have ended up great, and it didn't. And anybody who was a fan of the show like me, like for like months after, I would just don't even get me started. I just gets my blood boiling all over again. But and so many people did it better. Like you could go on YouTube and watch people like they've cut up the end, like they've taken the last episodes and actually just re-edited them, to make it better than what they produced. Because
that is a little sad when that happens, because I think that happens a lot.
Yeah.
For things like that, I think it happens. You see that in some movies, especially with DC movies. Sometimes you see people like make costumes, like cosplay costumes that look better than what's in the movies. Like that should not happen. This person did this in their basement.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like with just like a shoestring budget and
the same thing happened.
Warblow. You know what I mean? Like we're using that crap to put together, and it's better than what's on the screen. You have all the money.
I don't know if you've ever worked with Warblow. It's insane.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to work with, but I mean, like you're doing it as a hobby, and these people do it for a living with all the money, and they still can't pull it together.
Yeah. But the other thing the other movie that happened with was The Hobbit, which anybody who loved The Lord of the Rings was like, oh my God, Peter Jackson's going to do The Hobbit. This is going to be great.
Yep.
I got through one movie. Through one.
I like those movies separate from the books. Right? And the books I love the books, but they're really hard to get through.
Oh, you're talking about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. Really hard to get through, right? You're 17 pages on describing a tree. Like it can be a little bit long-winded to some, but it's the benchmark of fantasy novels, right?
Really
it is because it does that. Because there's so much description. It kind of like everybody's like, all right, well, we don't need to describe this because it's already in the Lord of the Rings. It's that.
Yeah.
That's if you say goblin or something, you know what you're talking about. I don't have to describe it because you've seen Lord of the Rings, you're fine. But that was, so the movies I think are separate. Almost like the Harry Potter stuff, it's separate from the books.
Well, my point was that The Hobbit didn't need to be 3 movies.
No, Hobbit itself.
The Hobbit movie was one movie.
It was one short book.
One movie. The
book's not that long. It's not as long as any of the Lord of the Rings books.
The amount of filler that was in The Hobbit. And
3 movies worth, at least 2 movies worth of filler.
Utter garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%.
I watched a little bit of the second
Jackson
one.
just wanted like another trilogy.
I don't even know if it was a clusterfuck. There was all sorts of stuff going on with that one, with like directors and who was going to do it and who wasn't, and blah blah blah. But I only watched a little bit of the second one just to see the dragon.
Yeah.
Benedict.
Yeah.
Cumberbatch, as I call him, but everybody calls him that. I don't know how to pronounce his last. Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Cumberbatch.
That's that's what everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's what the general consensus on.
That's pronounced. I'm sure you're right. He was like the only reason I wanted to see the second one because I'm like, Smaug, man, I want to see the dragon talk.
Right.
And
he did a good job. I mean, he did.
He did a great job.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job.
They just, should have just one movie.
No, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. It should have been one movie. So Game of Thrones, do you think, so at which season did you say it started to diverge?
5.
It was 5, right? So after 5.
Although I have to say,
do you think it needed to last 2 more, or do you think they should have just kind of buttoned it after that?
A lot of, no, I don't. I think a lot of people would have been irate if they just shut it down then because, people were still of a mind that it could be good.
Yeah.
And every season leading up there, their budget was getting bigger, the production value. I mean, the Battle of the Bastards is fucking incredible to watch still.
But it was kind of one of those first shows that kind of started doing that. Like it was a movie style, movie budget, movie look and feel for an HBO show.
Yeah. I mean, they had like
kind of
3, they were like filming over here, they were filming over there. Like it was big time, but
and more shows are starting to do that now, but I don't know if anybody's quite done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I don't know if anybody will after the sort of the ending, after what it did to the ending.
And that would be sad because I mean, even right up to the end, the acting was great, the costuming was, the CGI was just incredible.
Yep.
It's just the writing was so bad, so much character assassination, like plots that just evaporated into the thin air, like just like okay, why did we care about like the opening scene in the series is the same as the opening scene in the book, and that is the White Walkers.
Right.
This is a threat to the whole planet of Westeros, the whole place. Yeah. And he just gets shanked by Arya at the end. Oh, the end.
Yeah,
all done.
The
long night is no more. So
why didn't we just do that in the first episode?
Yeah,
like it was that easy.
Well, I mean, and that's where stuff started to unravel, and it's frustrating. But like there were some parts in season 5 where I was actually like on the edge of my seat because I'm like, all right, well, I know what happened in the books. Like my favorite character is the Hound, and in the books it's left like when Arya leaves him to die, and then you're like, there are hints in the other books that he survived and he's living a quiet life.
Yeah.
But at that moment in the series, when he's lying all messed up on that hillside, which there was never any fight with Brienne, that's just movie stuff.
Right.
I was like, all right, is she going to shank him or is she going to leave him? In the books, she leaves him. But in the show, they could have had her shank him and then he would have actually been dead.
Right.
So I was actually, oh my God, what's going to happen? And she left him. Like, okay, good. Maybe the Hound will come back. And he did come back, which I was happy with. But at the same time, like, this is ultimate fan service.
Yeah.
Like, Clegane Bowl was a meme.
Yeah.
Like, him fighting his brother was a meme.
It was a few for Game of Thrones, I think.
But this was like something that people would just like joke about, like just totally tongue in cheek, like, oh, he's totally gonna fight his brother to the death at some point. And then like they made it. It's like the writers went on Reddit and was like, I need some ideas.
Yeah, just what are the fans writing these days? What's the fan fiction look like?
Yeah.
Let's just copy that.
Oh, so bad.
And if you've ever listened to the show, anybody who's listened to the show, you know I have a real bad hard time with lazy writing.
Ugh.
Like I just do. It irks me. Like that's your job, and if you don't get fired for it, there's a problem. You write your way out of situations with very little care. And it's like you're taking advantage and calling the audience stupid.
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna figure it out, or we're not gonna put 2 and 2 together, and you're just gonna do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, the writing in the last 2 seasons was so ridiculous. The season 7 got leaked. All the stuff leading in season 7, which was when they they went and captured a white and brought it back to King's Landing. Everybody riding on Daenerys' dragon at the end, and just that.
Yeah.
So that whole script was leaked. It was leaked on Reddit, on someplace else, and there was all these, oh, this can't be real, because people were like, oh, this is totally real, like this is a legit leak. But myself included, we're reading this and we're like, this is the dumbest shit ever. Are you fucking kidding me? We're gonna go. They're gonna go beyond the wall. They're gonna take Jon, who just came back from the dead, and all these people. Where they're gonna go beyond the wall and capture a white to bring it all the way back to King's Landing. And everybody's just gonna trust Cersei now, though. And and I remember reading the bit about them all riding on the back of the dragon. I'm like, oh, come on.
Give me better.
Yeah, I mean, so there was that kind of stuff.
Don't treat me like I'm stupid.
And it's just so many plot line, like character development, just flushed completely down the toilet. Jaime, a really complex character. You start out hating that guy.
Yep.
Hating that guy. Then he gets his hand cut off. He rescues Brienne. He has a redemption arc. He goes north on purpose to help them. And then at the end, gonna go back to my sister. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm done.
And then they die underneath rubble.
Yep.
When I watched that scene, I just sat there watching it, and I kind of looked at Jeff, and I looked at my friends in the room, because we would do Thrones night.
Right, sure.
And I'm like,
that was big,
did they just die? Like under a pile of rubble and it just went to black? Are you fucking kidding me?
That's it, done. See you next week.
I wasn't even sure.
Yeah.
It was just so bad. See, I'm getting mad all over
again.
No,
that's okay. That's all right. That's what it's all about. It's the love and the passion for what you love.
And it could have been so good. It was so good. Like Jaime, and there was, I'm sorry, I'm ranting now. Here I go. Well, entertainment rant.
That's exactly why we called it that.
Yeah, that's why when I texted you, I was kind of joking about it, but like, I will get wound up about it. But like so many of these plot, like Arya, who, had this whole development of like, oh, she's going to go be a faceless man. She comes back, and how about you just sneak into the Red Keep and shank Cersei? There you go.
Yep.
No, we won't do that.
Right. So that bothers me. Again, that's like lazy writing the other way.
Yeah.
When you know something could happen, it would be so easy to happen, and then for some stupid, nonsensical, or not described reason, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like I always harken back to Lost, and if you ever watched it was like all these people are stuck on the island going through the same shit together, but nobody would talk to each other. Like, hey, I was over there and there's this big smoky thing. I don't know what the hell it is, right? But they're not talking to each other. So now they have to go find it and get killed. Like, wouldn't you just go back and like, dude, stay here. There's shit happening in there. But they don't. They're just like, let them figure it out themselves, the pricks. You know what I mean? Like, all this stuff would happen and people would be talking to each other. And they know everything's a big secret.
Yeah.
For some reason, everything was a secret. And then there's, of course, the ending to that show, which totally tanked it as as well.
I know. That was another one that it kind of killed the rewatch for me, because that was another show that I didn't get as heavily invested in Lost as I did in Game of Thrones, but I was reading, like I had a friend out in California, he would write a blog every week about it, like dissecting every last thing that happened, and it was, there was a lot of good reading about that show. And
because everything was meant to be a mystery. Like everything was a one thread mystery after another.
Yeah.
So it was meant to to do that for you. And I watched it when we were working, oddly enough, and I had my white MacBook, and somebody lent me the DVDs of the first season. I think it was Mike lent me the DVD of the first season. So I literally watched it while I was working on my laptop while I was doing work. And I finished season 1 as like season 2 or something, like that night it was coming on.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, great. I watched the whole season like back to back, and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta wait every week for an episode.
That happened to me with Breaking Bad.
Same with me. It was the last half of the last season.
I binged. I didn't watch a single episode of Breaking Bad when it was on.
Yep.
And I got I called it my accidental layoff. I was a contractor at the time, and my contract expired, and then my boss's dad died. Well, it doesn't matter. I had a whole month off.
Yep.
And I binged Breaking Bad. And Jesus, that was exhausting.
Yes.
An amazing, amazing show.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole podcast on that. You'll have to be on that one. We're going to do a whole entire episode just on Breaking Bad. One of my favorite shows of all time.
To get to your point, as soon as I finished that, Better Call Saul was just coming on. I'm like,
yes! Nice. Yeah, I did that with Breaking Bad season 5, which is they call season 5 and 6, but it was really just a split season because they had that mini break in between.
Yeah.
So I watched everything through 5 and then the half of 5, and I finished that right as the second half was starting that night.
Yeah.
And it is a wonderful show, but you feel like you have to rub yourself down with a chicken after you're done watching it, because it's just like you feel dirty.
It's exhausting
liking it and watching it.
Yeah.
It really was exhausting.
But it was good. I was binging it, and I would watch an episode, and of course, I'm like, I'll watch another episode.
Yep.
And it would end, and I'd be like, I'm going to watch another.
Just one more. Let's see what happens.
And Jeff would be like, please stop.
Yeah. I can't take it anymore. I can't take the death and the drugs. Yeah. So it kind of sounds like, in some respects, especially after season 5, Game of Thrones was kind of like that. Like, it's getting a little arduous to watch this. But you feel like, I've gone this deep.
Oh, well, yeah. I was
it?
not going to give up on it because I still had faith, and I just wanted to see how it ended. And
at some
also,
point.
I mean, it was still beautiful to watch.
Right.
Like, when the ice dragon comes and destroys the wall, I was like, man, that looks so cool.
Yep.
If only.
Yeah, with the money, because the money was there.
And then again, like, how the fuck did a bunch of zombies drag it out from under the water? Where the fuck they get those chains?
That's right. So it was beautiful, poorly written, beautiful, right? Like, gorgeous to watch.
Like there's this whole scene where, like, at Hardhome, when John is taking the wildlings away, and they stop at the water because, I guess wildlings can't swim, except when they have to go deep diving for a dragon.
Yeah.
With their ready-made giant chains.
And that's where I bump into shit. It's lazy writing, where you set up a world with rules and then you just break the rules.
And you just flush them down the toilet.
Yeah, willy-nilly. Like, it's a rule now, but next episode it's not a rule anymore.
Yeah.
But then we're going to bring it back in the episode after. Like, no, you can't do that anymore. It's like, you can't just ignore your own rules just to make, because you don't know how to write your way around it.
And they not only did they do that with plot armor and dumb devices like that, but they did that with the people.
Yeah.
Like Tyrion, up until season 7, is the smartest guy ever. Like, he's always, thinking 10 steps ahead of everybody, and he wants this, that, and then he just gets him and Jon and Varys, just their brains just fall out of their heads at some point. And it's like Varys, who was like wanted Daenerys on the throne from the beginning, has been plotting the whole time. And he's like, he's the master of whisperers, and he's, secret. Him and Tyrion are talking treason, like, in the throne room.
Yep.
At Dragonstone. I'm like, okay, that's dumb. When did you get so stupid?
Yep.
And
it does. It definitely
can't watch it anymore. I can't rewatch it. I can't even rewatch, like, the first 5 seasons that were so good, because it's setting you up for a whole bunch of stuff that ultimately becomes meaningless.
Yeah. Or doesn't ever get
Bran
paid
becoming
off.
the Three-Eyed Raven for fucking what,
Yeah.
man? He sits around at the last episode with his eyes rolled back in his head.
Yep.
There were fans who wrote, like, this idea that he actually is the Night King, and, like, he time traveled, and I don't know what weird shit happened.
Yeah.
But it was a good idea.
Right. Would have been better than what they put
It would have been better than what they,
Yeah.
again, this existential threat was set up from the beginning, and then it's just gone.
There's nothing.
It's just
So yeah,
gone.
what other threads sort of happened that just, like, even if not necessarily ended badly, but just didn't end at all? Like, because Lost had that a lot. There was just some ideas and things that went on. There's like, we're never going to explain this. Get lost, fuck off. We're not going to explain it.
Yeah, well,
It just happened, but we're not going to
the
tell you
White
why.
Walkers was one. Like, where, what was their whole point? At the very, they're making patterns in the snow with dead things, and they're kidnapping babies and making more of them, and blah blah blah. they're supposed to bring the long night, so that just evaporates. The whole point of Arya going to the House of Black and White to become a faceless man, an assassin, and now she just has her list and she just wants to kill people, Mrs. Stabby Stab, which is, I started off liking that character, and then at the end I just fuck her. But
you turn so quickly, Diana.
Oh yeah, fair weather friend. But I don't know. And again, it's not so much that they just abandon it, but Daenerys' character assassination, her as well. She was never about killing innocent people. She'd kill her enemies with fire and blood, blah blah blah, and then she just nukes an entire city.
I will never kill an individual person. Large groups, I'm okay with.
Large groups, I'm okay with. It's fine.
From a distance, I'm okay with that.
I got really mad. They killed my dragon and my friends.
I got a little pissy about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it up close, though. I will do it from a distance.
That's right. That's right.
That's totally fine. So who was your favorite character throughout the series? Did somebody last through the entire series?
Well, it was.
Or did you just turn on the whole group at the end?
No, I still loved the Hound. Even though his last 2 seasons was totally fan service,
Yep.
I still loved him just because I just loved that character.
Yep.
Jamie really grew on me. I mean, it was funny. It's like people really Camp Daenerys or really hated Daenerys. I was just kind of on the fence about her. I'm like, all right, she's cool, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I never had any, what's really funny is when I first started watching the show, I always, whenever they would cut back to the Night's Watch, I'm like, oh, boring.
Snooze.
But then it got more interesting because when Jon first goes to the Wall, it was just like all he was doing was just being a pouty bitch. But it got more interesting. But
like a pouty bitch.
Yeah, but I mean, I had all these characters like Davos and Tormund and Brienne and the Hound that I was like really like, all right, these are really good characters and I want them all to live.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be great if they all lived? I know they're not all going to live. Everybody lived except for the Hound.
It's definitely one of those shows like don't get attached.
Yeah. And I don't mind. People
like
will
them,
say,
but they're not going to get at the end.
I didn't mind that people got killed in that show. That's what the show was all about. It used to be shocking. Like the Red Wedding. I mean, people were shocked at the very first season because oh my God, the good guy gets killed right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the criticism back at the fans was like, oh, geez, you're just mad because it didn't end happy. No, we're mad because it sucked.
Yeah, it doesn't have to end happy. Breaking Bad doesn't necessarily end happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like everything gets solved and he's back and everything's cool and he's okay with the family. It ends tragically.
Yeah. I mean, to give them credit, those books, you think about how many characters are on the television show. They cut out a fourth of the story and the characters. Which
is surprising for something that lasts, it's not a movie.
Yeah.
You only have 2 hours, even a trilogy, which you can stretch one book to 3, but, even if you put in 3, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean...
You have all this time. You could do season, you could put as much in there as you want.
Yeah.
So to drop that much.
Yeah, and I thought that the trimming that they did was good. So, kudos to the writers for that because, they were like... The way those books are set up is each chapter is the name of the character. So each chapter is the point of view of that character at that moment. Nothing pissed me off more reading the books at book 4, book 5. I'd turn that page and there'd be a new fucking character. I'm like, who the hell is this? Why do I need to get invested in this person now? I don't care.
Yeah, I don't want them. So looking at the stats, not one character is in every episode. So there's 73 episodes. And Peter Dinklage's character is the only one who's in the most.
I was just going to say, if I had to guess, it would have been him.
67. And then the next one is Lena Headey, who played Cersei. She's in 62, along with Amelia Clarke and Kit Harington with both 62.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
So, nobody was in every single episode, which is interesting, right?
Yeah,
I mean, but it kind of proves that it's a cast. It's an ensemble.
Yeah,
All this is not just focused on one character through the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, that was really what was great about it because, I was just bitching about how initially I thought the stuff north of the Wall was boring, but it got more engaging. But also that, now, the opening sequence of the show was also brilliant where they would unfold that map.
Right.
And if you saw a new location, you knew that was going to be featured on that episode. Like, ooh, where are we going now?
Yeah, exactly. A little adventure, and that's cool. I like that. I like that the fact that it was able to, pin different people at different times. It wasn't just following the one person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or following this one group. You had different stuff going on, which I like. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of what other show at that time or even now that kind of does that. You know what I mean? It's so much. It seems like almost everybody's pretty much in every episode, even something like a Modern Family.
You know what actually kind of does that is Better Call Saul. Because this is a Mike-centric episode, or this is more about Nacho, or this is actually about
Kim or whatever, which, I'm looking forward to seeing how that all wraps up too.
Oh, yeah. I know the next season, obviously with the pandemic and everything, it was pushed back and delayed, but cannot wait for that to start up again. And I know he's okay. He had his more minor heart attack.
Bob Odenkirk?
Yeah, it was a stroke or heart attack, like a minor. Ooh. He was in the hospital for a couple of days, but he's all good. Everything's fine. But yeah, that was scary for a second. But yeah, like the next, my favorite episode, and we'll get back to Game of Thrones, my favorite one was the Pimento, when he's in the garage, and he takes out the other, basically bounty hunter or bodyguard.
Yeah.
just like, what else you got? And he just takes all his gun. Ooh, that's a nice one.
So,
and you want one?
Talk about good writing.
Yeah,
those guys are amazing.
Those guys are. They really are, and they pull that. I mean, so like even we'll get to a Breaking Bad episode, but like that for me, that series was strong. Like the first season was a first season. Yeah. It was good, but they had to find their footing.
You're talking about Breaking Bad or about
Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Like the first season was, like a first season. Yeah. Right? They're finding their footing. They're getting through it.
Well, yeah, I had read that they
really hit the ground running on season 2.
That they had planned to kill off Jesse like immediately. Did. Yeah, but the character, they really loved him. And I guess that was the thing with that show is like they were writing it as they were going.
Yeah, like, they had an idea, but not a storyline per se. So they were able to add more things to it. So that was interesting for me. But so Game of Thrones, do you think they had after season 5? Because we know obviously 1 through 5, there were storylines because they were going from the books. Yeah. After 5, do you think they were just making it up as they went along, or do you think they had some sort of an arc to get through this whole?
No, the author George R.R. Martin, who will never finish those books.
No,
I think he just doesn't know how because there are so many threads to weave back into it. Yeah. I don't think he ever really. He doesn't care. He's got his fuck you money.
He does. The brain struck is well up to the back of his trunk.
Yeah. But he had given them. He told them, in broad strokes, how it was going to end.
Yeah.
And I can't believe he told them Bran ends up on the throne. I don't believe that. I do believe that he confirmed that, Jon Snow, his lineage, maybe Daenerys does go mad and burn up King's Landing. But I'm sure in the books it's going to be a little bit more of a build up to her going batshit crazy. Yeah, then, one episode she's fine, the next she's sulking in the corner.
Yeah. That shit crazy is one of my favorite terms, just in case you want to.
But no, I don't know how much the author gave them. I know he gave them just some, this is how I'm going to end it. I'm sure he didn't give them pages of notes.
Right. Hopefully, wishing he gave them more.
And I think if they weren't, again, I don't know why they felt the need that we don't want to do 2 more full seasons. We don't want to do 3 more full seasons because I've heard, obviously I don't have an insider at HBO. But what I've read is that HBO would have paid for 12 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, it was their moneymaker. It was their cash cow. It was their tentpole.
But also,
that was it. That was their main. Every time you see it's right there.
It wouldn't have even been dragged out.
Yeah.
If they had the source material, if George was writing the other books, and then they could have ended it properly. As it was super rushed, total fan service, and then utter garbage. Yeah. It turned into. And I'm not going to complain about the spectacle of it because it was still the loot train when Daenerys burns up all that shit with the dragon. Wow, this looks so awesome. Yeah. And then it's all right, High Garden's gone now.
Not a lot of substance. There's a lot of flash.
Exactly.
Not as much substance
exactly.
As the first
yeah.
5.
All of the subtleties of the show seem to just kind of, along with the intelligence of half the characters.
So the fan part of it was amazing. That's I don't know, that kind of almost broke new ground with the amount of fans and how vocal everybody was about the show. You know what I mean? It was insane.
Yeah.
You could see it, from celebrities down to everybody who was just I'm on this, I watch this, I collect stuff about it. Did you ever collect any of the stuff from the show?
Just the DVDs.
Just the DVDs?
Oh, okay. I do have a little Stark pin on my backpack.
Okay.
I think that's all. Oh, and I have a Hound. What are those Funko Pop dolls? The dolls.
Yeah.
I got one of those of the Hound.
I got one. I got one for you today. Although I have 3, you got to pick one.
Yay!
Because basically anybody comes on the show, I give them a pop figure.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I found the Hound because I don't think I could. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But I have 3 because I didn't know which one you had.
I have exactly 2 pop figures. I have the Hound and I have Jareth from Labyrinth.
Nice. I don't have the Jareth one. I have way too many. Ask my wife. I have way too many pop figures. I try to stick to certain
genres.
Yeah, and I fail miserably. So I have 124.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's gone insane. I try to stick to The Office and The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
And it has not done well. I have not done well sticking to those.
Well, there's only I was going to say The Big Bang Theory. There's only so many characters,
but there's like 6 main characters. But like anything, they just keep. Oh, don't forget they wore this outfit one time.
Oh.
Like Leonard alone, there's like 7 or 8 different. Not Leonard, Sheldon.
Sheldon, yeah.
It's because he always wore the different T-shirts, and some of like the basic like. Green Lantern one's easy to find.
Yeah.
Get the Superman with the stripes on it. It's like $900.
What?
Because there's like only like 250 or 400 made for one of the conventions.
Oh.
So that's it. You find a good one. It's like $900.
Yeah, I took mine out of the box, so they're probably worthless.
I have maybe out of my 100, so I have probably maybe 15 or maybe 20 maybe out of the box.
Yeah.
Because that's when I was like, I'm not gonna really collect. Cause I have like some of my Batmans and some of my Bob Ross figures. I have some of those.
Yeah.
So half of my Bob Ross are out of the box. The other half are in.
Yeah.
I never take them out, like the flocked haired one and the one that's white that you can paint yourself. That's
oh, no kidding.
That's the do-it-yourself one is that's in the box. And then like from there, all mine are still in the box.
Yeah.
And with protective sleeves on them. Which
Jesus Christ.
The ones I have for you, all have protective sleeves on them. I went and put
I'm going to open it up.
You do whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I've given away to people. Some of them keep it in. Some of them don't. It makes no difference to me. It is yours. You do what you want with it. I'm not one of those guys like, you must keep it in.
Yes.
I put it with a protector.
With this toy.
I put it in there for those people who do. That way you don't have to go get one.
Right.
If you would take it off and throw that away, I could give a shit.
Yeah.
Take it, do what you want. It's yours.
Too
Put
funny.
it, play with it, whatever, take pictures. So we do a pop of the day on our Instagram.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah,
I'm not on Instagram. I've seen it on Facebook. I'm not on Insta. I can only manage so many social media accounts.
I really was with Facebook, but then like I noticed like this for what we're doing Instagram is way more of a media tool to get new followers and listeners.
Yeah,
Instagram does a lot more than Facebook does.
Yeah. Well, Facebook is for old people like me now, so.
Yeah, and I'm with, I'm 45. I'm like, I guess it's kind of like that's that like 40, 45 and older crowd, like to 60s and like that, where Instagram is more still that like some 20s, 30s, you know what I mean? Then you have TikTok, it's just like the tweens, like that's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not even getting close to that. Like,
Nope.
we have an account, I never put anything on it because like,
I don't want the communist government of China to be spying on me. Anyway.
That's right. So like the Instagram, like I figure like most of the stuff we talk about is new stuff, Game of Thrones, whatever. But then a lot of times like talking about 80s movies and 90s stuff,
I think you do
like
get
that.
a lot more from what I've heard from people, a lot more feedback, a lot more engagement with Instagram.
Absolutely. I've noticed that just like because I put, like I said, like you saw, I put the same stuff on Instagram that I put on Facebook, and definitely way more engagement and responses through Instagram.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I will get back on it. I do have an Instagram account. I just don't.
It's easier to digest because it's just pictures and very small amounts of things to read.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's pretty. That's cool. And you just scroll and it's done.
That's true. It's not a lot of like articles and people linking to things. Like,
not as much. No,
forcing
you
their
can.
Political bullshit down your throat.
And you can really pick what you want.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can pick, like I like this account because they talk about pop figures. And that's all they talk about. Like I don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm going to scroll through and all of a sudden there's going to be a political post on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that. If somebody does political stuff, I don't follow them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that is a little bit more organized that way.
Yeah, maybe I'll
Whereas Facebook, like you can follow your friends and then like, like I love my brother, but I don't watch this. Like I'm friends with him on Facebook, but here's a big spoiler. I don't actually follow his feed because we have very different views on things. So I just don't,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But,
so
what's the point of being friends if I don't actually follow the feeds?
Yeah.
So that's why, I like Instagram. I've started to like Instagram a lot better than Facebook myself.
Oh, good.
So
just stay off Twitter. Twitter is a dumpster fire of the internet.
I think we have a Twitter account for Entertainment Rants, and like I literally just like whatever I put on Instagram, I just send it to Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's just like Entertainment Rants said, put up a picture on Instagram, go see it.
Yeah,
Like I don't actually write anything on Twitter. I could care less. I don't have time.
Twitter's a cesspool.
It is, and I don't have time to do that. Like I run a full-time business, so like this is a secondary, hobby for me. So I don't have time to run 14 different,
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, all right, well. That's what I think that's why I had stopped with the Instagram. Is like I would look at it and I was seeing the same exact stuff I was seeing on Facebook. So I'm like, I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But it's definitely easier to digest, and there's a lot less crap on the Instagram in terms of political. So if you're like not into that stuff, which I'm not either, I could care less. I just like Instagram, cool, that's fine. Or I put it away because you can, you could waste hours and hours. So now it's like Sunday night. Like tonight's my night. I'll just plan out all the posts for the week. I do all my pop stuff. I do all my history, this day in history. I do all my posts for the week, schedule them, and have to deal with it again. Unless I come across something, I'd like to share that.
Cool. That's smart.
I just post it as Social Pilot and just with all the hashtags, just everything instantly, it's done, and it just does it for me. I don't have time every day to be like, all right, what do I post now? What do I post now? This is too much. I got a kid, I got a business, I forget it. So just plug it all on Sunday night, spend an hour or so.
Seems like it's working.
It's done. So all right, so we talked about your favorite. Who's your least favorite character? Who's the one just, again, dumpster fire, get rid of them?
Gosh, well, after watching the whole thing, it was probably Bran, because I was just so annoyed by that whole plot, and like he became king. I'm like, that's just dumb. But
sometimes I wish this wasn't just an audio format. When they get to that, just like losing their mind. Like my sister-in-law was like grabbing her face. You know what I mean?
Geez, the least favorite. Well, who started out really cool and ended up being just stupid as well was Bronn. He was a good character. Everybody loved him, and they put him in more, and then he just became annoying. Anybody from Dorne sucked. The Sand Snakes were just like, ugh.
Sorry, Jerome Flynn, who played Bronn.
Yeah, well, I mean, I liked his character at first, but then they just kind of inserted him in all these places where he's just like, ugh. Well, I guess maybe I'm just thinking of the very end, because he was like on the small council at the very end, which again was stupid.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a whole bunch of people. Like, it's like when I hear like your least favorite character, I'm like, it's hard for me to kind of just answer that quickly, because it's not like, oh, well, you could just say Ramsay because he was such a douchebag, or
right. But we don't want quickly. We want in-depth answers. So I definitely want longer answers.
Initially it was like, they like, oh, Theon, but then Theon was one of the only people whose redemption arc did not get completely flushed down the toilet. Like, I mean, it was stupid at the end. He somehow got.
It didn't get flushed, but it was still stupid at the end.
Well, the way he died at the end, I mean, it was dumb, because he had like full armor on, and somehow he got stabbed through his armor with a wooden stake. So again, the laws of physics don't apply anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it would have to be Bran, because he disappeared for like a whole season and nobody missed him. I don't know. It could have been, it could have. That character was wasted. It was wasted, and I guess maybe I don't know if that's why he's my least favorite, because of what a waste it was. I don't know. It's hard to answer that.
It's okay. We're not looking for definitive answers all the time either, right? It's a discussion to kind of bring it out and see.
And that's the other thing is like, when it comes to just a straight on awesome bad guy, like Cersei was great up until like the last 2 seasons, where all she did was stand around drinking wine.
Yeah.
It's like they just eviscerated her character. She had nothing to say. Like, Jon Snow had nothing to say at like the last season, except she's my queen and I don't want it. Like, like literally,
like
that's like his 2 lines.
That was good. I like the way you put that. Queen, I don't want it.
It's my queen. I don't want it.
Awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, so we can't go through the whole episode and not talk about the Cupgate. The Starbucks cup.
Oh my God, yeah. That was hilarious.
That was hysterical.
Well, what's really funny is, with the amount of editing, and this is where people just went off the rails shitting on it. Now, if you want to get an idea of like how much people are still pissed off about this show, there's a subreddit called Free Folk. And you can go on there right now and you will find hundreds of posts, still active posts with lots of upvotes and comments, bitching about that show still.
Sure.
And when that Cupgate came out, where like it was like everybody was just like, see, this is how we know it has gone completely off the rails and down the toilet, because they didn't even realize it was a fucking Starbucks cup next to Daenerys.
Meanwhile, the show's ended 2 years ago, is still talking about it.
Yeah. Well, but it was one of those things like it was almost like validation for them. Like, look, they clearly just don't care.
Yes.
At all anymore.
Nobody looked around. Nobody did one final sweep on the set. And I think there was are we clear?
A second instance of that, where it was a water bottle.
Yeah.
When they were all at King's Landing, I think when they all gathered to unveil the dead guy out the box, and here's another instance of where like at one point this is how it works, and at this point they were able to keep that white in a box like for the whole trip. When they're up in Winterfell, and the Night King comes, and the undead break out of the crypts. So these undead in Winterfell crypts can bust through stone and crypts, but this guy can't get out of a plywood box.
That's right. Wood is my kryptonite. I can't do it.
That's right.
I don't have the leverage, and my foot's in the wrong position.
Yeah. Well, if you want a good laugh, like go on to YouTube and just look for like the Game of Thrones actors like reactions when they're asked how much they love the final season.
Yeah.
This was like right leading up to it, and they couldn't say shit.
Yeah.
But now that everybody knows it was garbage, and now that you know that Emilia Clarke was devastated by the end.
Sure.
Like, she was devastated. Jon Snow, Kit Harington, he was like these actors, like they were
I've
harsh.
Watched some
like
of that. I've watched some of that.
Peter Dinklage and Conleth Hill, the guy who plays Varys. He at the table reading,
he reads like his last line and he just throws the script on the table. And you can tell he's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. He's just sucking it at
but
the end.
But you watch them like say, hey, how did you like this season? And they're just, their face, they're just struggling to like,
I'm paid to say nice things.
I can't say anything.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I'm paid to say nice things because I'm promoting the show.
A non-disclosure agreement. Ask me in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. When this runs out, when after this is aired, ask me anything you want.
Yeah. But it's good for a laugh. And I was actually watching after we agreed to do this. I was revisiting some of those pain points for myself. I'm like, oh god damn it. I might do the series a rewatch again just because, but.
So you've definitely spurred me to go and watch the series again. Like I've only watched it one time through. That's it. You know what I mean? So
it starts off so good.
A lot of the detail you have, I'm probably missed because a lot of these type of shows sometimes you do need to see multiple times.
Oh
to
yeah,
catch all
that's how I used to watch it. I'd watch it the Sunday it came out, and then I'd do a rewatch like 3 days later. I would read all the blogs, dissect every last bit of it because I was such a nerd over the show.
Yeah.
And all the different people, like you'd get the purists who are like, the book purists.
Yeah.
And then there's the people, all right, well, I'm cool
That's
with the books.
different sections, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm the cool with the books, but I like the show. But some people are like, oh, the show is garbage. It's only the books.
The two never show meat. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so I think I could probably stand to rewatch it again, but going into each episode, I was like, everything was still fresh in my mind.
Right.
Because I didn't binge it. That's the only problem with binging things is like you don't get that. It doesn't sink in.
It doesn't.
And you're like, oh, just next. I need to watch the next episode. And you don't really.
Right, you don't give you time to reflect.
Yeah, you don't really get to absorb it a whole lot, which is just the unfortunate. I mean, you get that instant gratification.
Which is nice. The only thing I like about binging is not just the instant gratification, but like sometimes when things repeat, you can catch it.
Yeah.
Sometimes like in sitcoms do that all the time, right? One of the most notable is Frasier. If you ever watched the series of Frasier.
No, I never did.
So you know the concept in Frasier and his brother Niles, played by David Hyde Pierce. And so throughout the series, there's like these little things, and he's a psychiatrist too.
Yeah.
And he'll always say something like, "No, I have to leave because I have to meet my fear of abandonment group at 1:30, and I've been a no-show on them twice." You know what I mean? Like he always has something to say. There's always some sort of like, "I have to do this," and he's like, did the exact opposite of what their fears or whatever was. So like that's something they do throughout the series. And like you notice that when you binge watch it, like
you see the thread of like
and how they wove that in. But you don't necessarily notice that from season to season or show to show when you're waiting a week or if there's a hiatus. When you binge watch it, you definitely it's almost like a drinking game. Like there he did it again.
Yeah, I think if you tried to binge watch Game of Thrones, you'd just get lost because there are just so many characters to get thrown at you.
Right.
And especially like I would have people ask me like, Jesus Christ, another bearded dude. Who the fuck's this?
Yeah. A lot of them are kind of dressed the same. They look the same. Yeah. It's a cookie cutter because of the time, the period is which were.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of wore a beard because it was freaking cold or they weren't shaving because what the hell was that about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like remembering all these different, like, all right, the Blackfish, they wasted that character, and Roose Bolton, they wasted him too, and
Wow, that's awesome. So it definitely seems like you're on the fence of whether you're going to rewatch it or not.
Well, I don't know. I don't spend a whole lot of time in front of the television. But I am going to do, though, is I had a whole bunch of Audible credits, and I think I'm going to listen to the books again. Because,
I might do the same.
Because that way I don't have to... just if I'm farting around, like on the, driving around.
Yeah.
Just you can put an audiobook in. This podcast is not sponsored by Audible by any means, but I'm like, hey.
But hey, Audible,
plug it
just in
anyway,
case.
Audible.
In case you're listening.
Good stuff.
I listen to it constantly. I love Audible. I wish because I listen to so many podcasts and my Audible library is like really backed up.
Yeah.
I have so many that I'm still waiting to go and listen to. But like I have the credits. I don't want them to go to waste. Not that they go to waste, but like I might as well use them. I paid for them essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, all right, that sounds like good. I'll get to that eventually. And it's like, it's 10 hours.
Yeah.
How much driving am I gonna do?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like because like when the show was still on, when Game of Thrones was still on, I think it was season 5 maybe. I'm not sure. The book 5 came out, Dance of Dragons, and it sucked.
It sucked eggs. All right, you got that, Martin?
I think for me, I don't know. I haven't reread that book because it was a slog to get through. Like, I'm reading, I'm like, it was a chore. Like, a book should not be a chore.
No.
Especially when you're like, yes, it finally came out, and you start reading, like, again, you turn a page, you turn a chapter, and it would be a character you never even heard of before. Like, we don't need any more people.
Yeah, there's enough. The cast list is good enough. We're fine.
I like a small example of this is, like, in the series...
At some point, Tyrion releases the dragons because they've been chained up underneath the pyramid. In the books, there are chapters and chapters and chapters devoted to a character from Dorne whose ultimate job is to release the dragons, and then they burn them up.
Right. So you get these stories that are happening. How many really, in real life, how many important people are there?
Exactly.
That are, you're going to hit in that narrative. Like, do we need all these people?
Yeah.
Like, in real life, there's not that many people that really
that's
matter
why, like,
to talk about.
I don't think he'll ever finish them because I don't think he cares anymore. I also
got the truck backed up.
To be honest, I don't think he knows how to weave it all back together.
Yeah,
I think it just
he kind of wrote himself into a corner.
Yeah,
like
I think it kind of spun out of control. But I think me personally, I really want him to finish them now because I want to. It's got to be better than how the show ended up.
All right, so I don't know if you know this answer, but he started writing the books. How many books did he have out or finished before the show started?
5. So
there were 5. 5 books finished?
5 books finished.
Okay.
And then book 6, which there's supposed to be 7. No, wait, 4 books? 4 books were out.
Okay.
4 books were out. Yeah, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the book 5 was A Dance of Dragons. And that came out while the series was...
Gotcha. Okay, so they had 4 books of
4 books of material, yep.
And so book 5, it sucked.
I didn't like it.
Did he throw it out there because they needed it, or
well, no? Book 5 is where Jon Snow gets killed, and Daenerys in the fighting pit she flies with. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but there's a whole lot of filler too of people like I don't care about these people, and maybe it's because they got written out of the show, or and that's probably just my problem because like I was following them both in tandem.
Right.
Well, not in tandem because I binged the books after season 1, and then as each season came out, I reread the books with the season. So it was really, I don't know. It was probably.
So it's kind of that like that. So that was the question. Like, did the book affect the quality of the season, or did the season kind of affect the quality of the mood? So the show affect the quality of that book because he had to like. They need more shit to do.
Yeah, no. The first 4 books were.
Right, just 5 because 4 was already done.
Yeah, 4 books were already all written.
Right, but then season 5 comes along and they need a 5th book. They need more shit. They need more story.
Yeah.
So did he have to get it out so they could have more story?
No,
now he's just like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no. I mean, he was already like he had been writing A Dance with Dragons, of Dragons. I don't know, whatever that purpose.
I look it up. If only we had some machine that could tell us these bits of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Dance with Dragons.
Dance with Dragons.
That's 2011.
Yeah.
Because then there's 2 more after that. The Winds of Winter and a Dream of Spring.
Which I dream of a book that will never be written.
There you go.
But no, like the books were never like a rush because of the show. The first 4 books were written well before the series started. Right. I think when the series started, I think maybe the writer, I don't know if the writer thought he'd get them out in time, or if the showrunners weren't sure if HBO would keep picking them up,
right?
Or if they thought,
I think that happens.
I think the writers maybe thought that he'd have finished the books by the time they caught up.
Yeah, people are complaining at him for years to finish the damn books.
Yeah, I mean, which would have made sense, but because Jesus, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
10 years ago the last book came out.
It does seem weird, right? Like obviously, like you were passionate about this was you're like, other than this, what is he really?
He goes to a lot of Comic-Cons.
Yeah, he's really busy at the cons. But like this is his claim to fame, right?
Yeah.
This is his body of work.
Baby,
that's you know what I mean. We'll go
that's
to him
why
with the
people
grave.
know who he is.
Right, exactly. So why wouldn't you finish him? Like why wouldn't you deal with it? You know what I mean? Like we got all the Harry Potters, and there's gonna be more. But like essentially, she finished the story. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, and he just I'm good. Deal with it yourself.
He says he's still writing it.
Yeah.
I mean, but. Whether he is or not.
1 page a year. Fantastic. Good. 1 page a month. Like, get it done.
Yeah,
so, the same thing.
I will read it when it comes out. But.
You want to complete it, too.
Yeah. Well, I want to know how the goddamn thing ends.
Yeah. Like, I gave up on The Walking Dead. Like, it's sort of at some point, they kind of really diverged from the books. And it was it
was a comic book, right?
It was a comic book, yeah. And it was pretty tight. But then at some point, they started like, there's not enough for them because it was just a comic book, and they got to fill up like an entire season with just these like books that don't have that much in them, and so they really diverged from the books themselves, and it's kind of like it started getting weird. They started to get really strange, and I kind of stopped like, all right, that's enough. Once Rick Grimes' character left. Once they, because Andrew Lincoln didn't want to do it anymore, I was like, that's kind of it for me.
Yeah.
And that happens to me a lot when like the main actor is just like,
when they're like, I'm done with this.
It gets a little, because now they're really trying to fill it in. Like I was almost that way with The Office.
Yeah.
When Steve Carell left.
Aren't there like like 3 spinoffs of that show now or
yeah,
something?
the Fear of the Walking Dead. There's another one coming out. Like they're probably gonna do like a Daryl one, just with him alone and what's her name?
DIY with Walking Dead.
Yeah,
cooking at home with Walking Dead.
Exactly right. Yeah. How to probably cook the brains. So, it gets a little silly. It's only so much you can follow.
Yeah, I never watched the show because, zombies creep me out.
We've gone over that in the show. I'm not a big zombie person, yet somehow I got through Game of Thrones. I got through Walking Dead for at least the first 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah.
And that beyond that, I was like, I'm okay with season 7. I'm all right.
Yeah,
so
time to tap out.
I mean, at some point, like I feel like maybe I should go back and watch. Like when it's done, when they're done with it, I think I'll go back and pick up from where I left off. I don't have to watch the beginning part. I remember it very fondly, but I don't have to watch. I'll just watch from where I stopped.
Yeah.
And go on just to see how it ended.
Yeah.
And not the greatest cinematic.
Is there a cure?
Yeah. What happened? Did everybody's gone, or did they finally find the cure? So I will do that eventually with Walking Dead. Yeah, and I got to go back through Game of Thrones, definitely.
But what if it never ends, Marco?
No, they definitely said it's going to end. So Kirkman, I think, already ended it. Kirkman, I believe, who's the main writer, and one other guy. I think he ended the series. Everybody was kind of shocked, like, oh my god,
the writer of the comic book.
Yeah, the writer ended the comic book series because he's moved on to other things. And everyone's kind of like, oh my god, like that's how you end. Like we didn't know. Like he didn't tell anybody he was ending it.
Oh,
he just ended it. Like I'm done. Yep. He wrote it. He handed it in. Like yeah, bitches, this is over.
Out,
yeah, pretty much. And it was from what I understand, everybody really enjoyed the ending, but it was a shock. Like they didn't realize he was going to do that.
Yeah, so well, that's better than it being a shock and everybody hating it.
Yeah, no. Apparently everybody really enjoyed it. So hopefully with the show they do the same thing. Like finally end it on, and everybody actually likes what happens to it. But there's been definitely some shows, like I said, like Lost. The ending was horrible. But I don't know. For me, Breaking Bad, best ending of all time. I've said that before on the podcast.
Yeah,
best ending of any TV show ever.
That show is just amazing. Just amazing. And like all the like sub characters, and that's where I was so thrilled about Better Call Saul is watching that show, watching Breaking Bad. Like I just started rooting for Saul, man, and you start to like Mike, and you like Badger and like Skinny Pete and all these tertiary characters
all
that
just
become
get bitched at the end.
Oh my
like
god,
they really do.
Yeah. But then they come, then you get to see them again in Better Call Saul.
Yes.
And like it's
their
almost
beginnings and their motivations and how they kind of got to where they were and coming up to Breaking Bad.
And that show, Better Call Saul, is really interesting because it's on the one hand it's really funny, on the other hand it's just dark and depressing
and
as
tragic.
hell.
It's very tragic and very dark. Yeah, and it's nice to know. Like, I mean, one thing I liked about that show, unlike others like Walking Dead, like maybe Game of Thrones, like there's going to be an ending. Like they know going into it, we're only going to do this much.
Yeah.
So I think that keeps the quality a lot better. Where it's just not going to keep dragging on until they stop giving us money for this, or we start losing too many people.
Yeah.
Because the quality's down. Like this is it. We're going to run this show for this many 5 seasons and we're out.
Was it David Gould? Is that the writers for Breaking Bad and Gould and?
Yeah. It's oh boy, now I just had it in my head.
So the other guy, he used to write for X-Files.
Yes. And I should know stuff from my head, and I'm just so if you ever listen to the podcast, every once in a while I totally run massive brain breaks, and it drives me crazy.
I can see the guy's face. Like,
yes.
He's got a mustache. He's got
dark hair. I'm with you. I do this all the time, and I was just looking at his.
But he's the one he used to write for the X-Files.
Vince Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan, thank you.
Never would have come up with that, but I know his name. I was just looking at his pop figure the other day.
David Gould.
Yeah, I was literally just looking at his pop figure.
Yeah,
David Gould is one of the.
Yeah, Vince Gilligan. He used to write for the X-Files, and I think that was one of the first times he came across Brian
It was,
Cranston,
when he's in the back of the car.
That's
right. He was. That was their first meeting, and that's why he wanted him. He pulled him in for the show. He's like, we got to get this guy.
I know, and I used to be a Malcolm in the Middle fan.
Yep.
Which he, to see this guy
totally
go from,
different character,
like just buffoon in his tiny whities. All this, I think there's a like a clause in Cranston's contracts where he has to wear tidy whities
at some point. Yeah.
In whatever he's doing, he's just got to squeeze it.
Right, because then they put it right into like the very first episode. He's in there. Like, it's almost like a nod. There's a nod to his Malcolm in the Middle episodes. Like he's in tidy whities. There he goes again.
Oh, I know. Man, that was a hilarious show.
And it was a genius of that. And then like the last episodes where you see the pants, you see the crusty pants again. Like that was great. It was beginning to end like a solid series.
It was just really that was just an amazing series because you go from like. You pity the guy at the beginning, and at the end, you're like, oh, he's a monster.
He's a monster, but you almost still pity him.
Yeah.
Like, that was the genius of the show. Like, you still kind of pity this guy.
Yeah.
And there's some part of you who still wants him to win.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not supposed to. He shouldn't, and he needs to die, but you don't want him to.
Yeah. Me, throughout that whole series, was, oh, my God, poor Jesse.
Yeah, I know. But it's weird because you almost, he's done this amazing thing, and it's horrible because he's ruining lives left, right, and center and killing people, like he should die. But it's like, man, he's really good at what he does.
He is really good at what he does. He's relentless.
Yeah, it was really good. So.
Did you watch El Camino?
I did.
Oh, of course you did. Yeah. That was really well done too.
I thought so. It was a nice.
I mean, you just had to pretend everybody hadn't aged 10, 15 years and just go with it.
And just run with it, yeah.
But it tied up a lot of loose ends. Not, because what happened to Jesse, man? What happened to poor broken fucking Jesse?
Yeah. I mean, one half of me was like, I like him just kind of riding off into the distance.
Yeah.
Because
laughing maniacally.
Yeah, because then you can kind of like create your own version of what happened to him. Yeah. Like, all right, maybe he did. But then, like, you got El Camino, and you kind of see that he's okay. Mm-hmm. He's all right. Maybe not the version of okay you want him to be, because he now has to go hide out in Alaska type of thing. Spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
but, but there's, I don't know, it could have been just that we get to choose what happens to him.
Yeah, and I do appreciate an ending like that, because I think it's given the audience the benefit of the doubt of having a brain. Like, it's like, I have to wrap this all up for you, because otherwise, you might be sad and not understand it.
But he got away.
Yeah.
He got away. Like that's ended with him getting away. Mm-hmm. That's all I need. What he does after that, how he just let's pretend he just goes off and lives a fun life.
Yeah.
But he got away. That's all, right? If you didn't know what happened, if he didn't get away and he just like left in a room.
Oh yeah.
Like, what happens to him?
Chained up in the basement.
Yeah. Like what happens to the guy, right?
Yeah.
That would have been horrible.
Yeah.
So
that would have been insulting.
So last episode, Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. What do you think? I like to talk about the very last episode.
Ugh. It was awful.
That really just sends it when you go to ugh.
It was awful. It was awful. Like the ending, the end where Bran is king and Tyrion, like all these people gather to like pick the king. If Jon had shanked Daenerys, the Unsullied would have, in the Dothraki would have killed him instantly. They wouldn't have just put him in. We'll deal with him later. That's not no.
Right.
And then just who the fuck? Why did they care what Tyrion has to say? And just everybody gathering for that little council at the end, and then Bronn becoming part of the small council. Oh, and it was just it was cringe.
Yeah,
it was cringe. It was cringe. It was cringe.
They fade to dark. Like it's gone to dark. Boom, done. That's it.
The only thing I liked about it is Jon just was like, all right, fuck you. I'm just going to north of the wall. Cause I'm just done with all you people.
Yeah.
But just so much crap. And I know we're talking about the final episode, but then like the other beefs I have with that season was like the long night episode. You couldn't see shit. I was blaming my television. I was screaming at Jeff, I'm like, we need a new TV. I can't see anything.
It's very dark. Wonderful filters they're using.
Yeah. What's going on? I don't know. It looks like everybody's dying, but they're not.
Yep. Nope. Yeah.
Everybody had a lot of plot armor.
A lot of choices. Yeah. A lot of choices made there.
A lot of plot armor and a lot of everybody's
There it is. All right, well, I think that wraps
endorsement. Go spend a lot of your time watching the show. Folks.
Yeah, through season 5 and then cut it out after that. Then just go on to something else.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, stop after that and go watch Breaking Bad, and you'll be fine.
Yes, you will.
And make sure you have that rubber chicken to rub yourself down with, because that was torture.
Yeah,
I love it.
Hand sanitizer.
Oh, yeah, it was great. All right, awesome. Well, thank you.
Hey, thanks
Hopefully you had fun.
I did.
Well, I'll let you know when we're doing our Breaking Bad episode. You're certainly welcome to come back and do that. We have 4 mics now, so we can actually, I have another one in the office, so we can do 4 mics at a time, so I want to get
I'm trying to talk Jeff to coming out. He'll rant about anything.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Yeah, we'll plan another time, and we'll talk whatever you guys want to talk about, because I got a long laundry list of things since we just started back in August. I have a long laundry list of things
who else?
I want to talk about.
Mr. Brendan Joyce.
Yes.
Who lives in Maui, but
I know the lucky shit.
He will be home for Christmas.
Oh, nice. We're going to have to make time.
Yeah. Wrangling him is like wrangling air, so, if it
works,
it works.
It works, I know. I just watch his stuff and his little Zen every day. Oh, you lucky bastard.
Yeah, he's doing well out there.
Good. I'm glad. Awesome. All right. Well, Brendan, if you hear this, we're saying hi and mahalo.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right.
Come do a podcast.
Definitely. Well, Diana, thank you very much. I'll give you your pop figure when we're done. You get to, like I said, you get to choose which one you want, and I'll probably resell the rest. And eBay, look out. So I want to thank everybody else for listening. It's entertainmentrants.com. If you have any questions or you'd like to be a guest on the show, hit us up on our website or through any of our social media at Entertainment Rants, and on Twitter we're Entertain Rants. But as you know, we don't do a lot on Twitter.
It's garbage.
It's garbage. So definitely, Instagram is definitely our favorite of choice. So, and if you'd like to leave us a review, we'd love to hear from you. On Apple Podcasts is usually the best way to leave reviews, and we're hoping to read some of your reviews on our show. So, Diane, again, thank you.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. All right, everybody, keep ranting.